Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be showing you how I got these brows right here. So if you want to see my brow routine and how I do my brows, then keep on watching this video and you're gonna find out. So I haven't even touched my brows yet. I just put my primer, my foundation, my concealer, and I set my under eyes. I've been trying to figure out how to get these under eyes from creasing because I've been experiencing a lot of creasing lately. Maybe I need to try some new products. I don't know. If you have anything that works for you, please let me know in the comments down below. But I'm doing this today because I get questions all the time on my brows and how I do my brows, what I use for my brows, and so on. And it took me a while to get to where I am today in my brow journey, and it is a journey, and I think the key with your brows is really practicing and learning them because so if I'm looking over here, I'm looking in the mirror. With my brows, this brow does not arch as much as this brow, so sometimes I like to do this one first to kind of figure out how I'm going to do this one, if that makes sense. So once you play with your brows and you start doing them a little bit more, you'll really learn the differences between the two and you'll be able to do them better. I also just found that with time and with practice, I've gotten better at doing my brows. Practice and just do your brows on a regular basis and you'll learn them and you'll get better with them over time, and you'll also find what works for you. This is just what works for me, and it's currently what I do on a regular basis. And to be honest, it's not something that I try to change, because anytime that I try and change my brow routine, I'm just like not happy and I'm not satisfied, because again, I just found what works for me. So what I use here, it is the n.y.x brow pencil. I believe this one is Auburn is the color. Oh no. Ash brown is the color. I buy this on Amazon, so I'll link in the description box below a direct link to buy this on Amazon. I think it's like $6. It's really inexpensive. I like balling on a budget here, especially with makeup. There's certain products that I choose to spend the money on, but I try and find good like drugstore makeup products that work just as well, because makeup is expensive. I like it because it's got the spoolie on one end and then the other end is kind of just like a twisty uppy guy, and it's kind of like a crayon, and I just personally like that. I don't like the pencils. I don't like the way they go on. Again, I just haven't found something that I like and that works for me, and most of the time I am using things that are in the drugstore. And I've tried the like brow pomades before in the past too, but I just haven't mastered that. I think part of it as well is just working with the product and figuring out how to make it work. So I have just been using this for so long that I found a way to make it work on my face and on my brows and so on. So I guess I'm just gonna get started here. This is kind of weird. I've never done anything like this before, but like I said, I get a lot of questions about my brows. So I thought it would be a good idea to post a video like this. I also feel like people are gonna ask me what foundation and concealer that I'm using, and that's on my face right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share that with you right now. I have a couple different things that I used today. I actually used 3 different foundations on my face. The drugstore foundations that I'm using right now that I actually really like are these L'Oreal guys. I use these 2 together because one is a shade darker. So I always like to have a couple of shades on hand because I am very fair. And if I'm, like, I've gone tanning, or if I want to be darker or bronze my body up or something, I just like the option to lighten my foundation shade or darken my foundation shade. So that's why I have 2 of these guys. I just mix them together on the back of my hand. So I put this on and I like it. It's super hydrating, which is really good for my skin because I have really dry skin. But then I also used this over too, the Revolution. I bought this a while back, but I didn't really like it because I felt like it looked really dry on my skin. So it actually works really well with these guys. And I put the L'Oreal all over my face, and then I just took this guy and kind of did on my cheeks where I have redness and some stuff I want to cover up, because I think that it does a really good job of concealing and defining, but the L'Oreal just helps with the hydrating of my skin and so on. So I used those 3, and then of course my current ride or die concealer is the Tarte Shape Tape. This is something that I choose to spend my money on because concealer is just so important to me, and like I said earlier with the creasing of my under eyes, this it kind of creases, but it doesn't crease as much as a lot of heavy and thick concealers that I found. Like this brand makes concealer as well, which is great and it works, but I found that my under eyes crease a lot. So the Tarte Shape Tape works a lot better for me. My shade here is Fair Beige, if you're interested. And then I'm a NYX kind of girl. Again, I like it. It's cheap, inexpensive, whatever. This is the powder that I use to set my under eye. This powder here you just have to be really careful with because it does have a little bit of flashback, but I've learned how much to use and how to spread it across my face. I like it just because it makes me look super poreless and it has no color in it. It's just white. Oh yeah, and then again, Tarte coming at ya. I'm testing this primer here right now. I just currently got it in my Ipsy bag. So this is what I'm using. I like it because it's hydrating. Your girl's got some dry skin. So yeah, please share with me anything you do for dry skin if you have super dry skin. So first things first, you want to comb out your brows. I like to comb all my hairs just kind of straight up because I'm first going to draw a line under my brow to just to get the shape right. Hopefully I can do this. I've never done anything like this before. So my apologies if the angles aren't the best. I'll get better at it if you want to see more videos like this. I'm not going to talk through this because I have a feeling that it's going to screw me up. So I'm just kind of going to explain what I'm doing when I have an opportunity to. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line first here to just create the shape of my brow. Once I have this line here, I like to go in and kind of fill in right above the line, and then I'll go ahead and work on the top part of my brow. I always start with the tail first, and I always do my tail first, and then I work my way in. And then on this part of my brow, I like to kind of play with. I could make it super arched and super dramatic if I want and be really extra, you know? So as you're drawing in your brows, you want to make sure that you have a light hand and that you're just doing small little strokes, I guess. I'm no beauty guru. I don't know a lot. I've taught myself a lot of the things that I do, a lot from YouTube, a lot just from doing it myself. And then I like the spoolie because I can go in and spread the product around in my brow. And especially if I go a little too dark in one area, then I can use a spoolie to move the product around and just kind of lighten it up where I need to lighten it up. Also, when I do my brows, I like to keep it darker on the outside of the brow and lighter on the inside of the brow. And then I'll show you how I go in and clean up my brow using concealer to make it look really super sharp and precise. Okay, let's go. Also, I'm like the worst because I constantly rest my hands on my face. I don't know, I just do it. I don't recommend it because you don't want to mess up your makeup. I'm already creasing. Like, help me with my creases, please, someone, SOS. I just need to like rest my hand on something. Also, when I'm sitting in my chair, I cross my legs and kind of like lean my arm on here, or I lean my arm on my vanity here. I move my mirror basically right up to my face here because I need it close. Again, find what works for you. This is just what I do and what works for me, and I'm sharing it because everyone's always asking me how I do my brows. I already feel like I messed them up. I feel like there's so much pressure on me right now. Like I'm being recorded. So you can see my brows starting to take shape. I like to try and fill in where there's hair first because then I can always work around that if I need to. Also, don't stress if you mess up or you make something a little too thick because I am going to show you how to go in with concealer and fix everything later. So really light. You want to be really light, especially up here. I feel like the front of your brow is so important to just be light-handed with. I'm not even, like, I'm just trying to fill in the blanks here right now, okay? Like, where there's no stuff, I'm trying to get it. And then you can kind of, like, move the product around with your spoolie. Just try and stay within the lines, otherwise you're going to blur the outside. Which, again, is fine because you can go in with concealer later on, but I like to prevent as much as I can. And I also like to try to keep the concealer only on the bottom of my brow unless I feel it's super extra. Okay, so this brow is like pretty much done. I don't like to play with it or touch it too much, otherwise I'm gonna screw it up. This is like my rough draft, so to say, because I like to then go in and do my other brow and then adjust them as needed to make sure that they look as close as the same brow as possible. I'm gonna quote it because, you know, our brows have to be sisters, not twins, right? Okay? Because my brows are differently shaped, I like to keep this one, like, I can go in and change up here, I can change the tail of my brow too, but I want to go in and do this and see how this one ends up before I start adding to this, because that's when it just gets messy and that's when they don't look the same at all. And my brows look different almost every day because I do put them on, and obviously, like, look at this and like look at my natural brow. So just go and do the other one and then adjust them as needed to make sure that they look really similar. See, like, I don't even know why my hand is here. It's not even being used for anything, but I don't know. It just makes me feel safe. So I'm always all up in my mirror when I'm doing my brow, but then every once in a while I kind of like to take a kind of, you know, step back and look at my brows in comparison to each other, because now that this one's done, I can look at this one and see where I need to go to match this one. Another good thing that I do to make sure that my brows are both like in the center here is I take it on my brow and I line it up. Like, this one needs to go out a little bit more on the bottom so that I make sure they kind of both start in the same position. And then I'll take it and I'll just very lightly like put it there so I see a dot and I know where the end mark is to draw my brow. So I'm not 100% happy with my brows right now. They could be better, but sometimes it's like I don't have time to sit here and do this, and nor does it matter. They're fine, they look fine, get over it. I've learned that through all of my years of brow making. But now I'm gonna go in and clean them up, and sometimes when I feel that way and I clean them up, I can fix them and whatnot. So I'm taking the concealer that I use under my eyes. I have this guy here, it's got a spoolie on one end, and then this guy on the other side. And I kind of just take it on the wand and pick up some of the concealer. Not a lot, but just enough. So I'm gonna take it and go under my brow. When I go above my brow, I try to only clean up the tail and not get all up in here because I've messed it up so many times. And again, I'm not trying to be that like extra and stuff. If I wanted like super cut out, pristine brows, that's what I would do. But I just like to stick to the bottom and the tail of my brow to clean them up and make them look more sharp and precise. So I'm actually not even gonna go above on this brow here because it's already pretty sharp and pretty clean and I don't wanna mess it up. But like, I don't know if you can tell or if you could tell when I was doing it, just by putting the concealer under my brow here, it just looks so much sharper. I love it. That brow's good. I actually like the shape of this brow. This one's a little thick. And you can see like this guy arches up more than this guy. So as I'm going in with my concealer, I can kind of carve out where I want it to go up a little more. That's why I don't stress when I'm doing my brows if they don't look exactly how I want to, because I always do this step and I can always go in and carve out and like fix and do what I want. Not sure if you can tell, but now this one's a little bit more carved up there and I have a little bit more of an arch and they look more symmetrical, but this one's a little messy on top, so I'm gonna go in and fix this. And sometimes I'll just completely carve out part of my brow and then I'll go in and redo it, but I don't know if that's gonna be the case today. I try and go in really light and I don't take any extra concealer. I just kind of use like what's left on the brush. I'm gonna have to go in and fix this again, but it is a-okay. And sometimes I notice too, after I go in with my concealer and then I go back in with the crayon pencil thingy, it just goes on so much smoother. Yeah, so we're just gonna fix that arch just a little bit right there. And just like that, my brows are done. Almost, there's one more step. Again, I can go in and fine tune them if I want, and sometimes I do that as I'm doing my makeup. Unfortunately, I don't really have the time to be doing that stuff right now, so this is just how they're gonna look and what they're gonna be. Again, coming at you with n.y.x because it's just a really good drugstore thing. It's inexpensive. It's just clear brow gel, so I'm gonna go in and put that on top of my brows here very lightly because I found that if I push a little too hard, it moves the product around and then I'm like, oh my God, I just messed up my brow. But I just like to go in and kind of lock the brow hairs into place. Here are my finished brows here. My face always looks really funky when I have nothing but brows on, but you know. So I'm gonna finish my face now. If you wanna see more makeup related videos and how I do my stuff, because I always get questions on it, then let me know. I just thought that maybe you would appreciate and like this brow video of just how I do my brows, because again, I'm always getting asked and I think it's really simple and I don't know, I just found what works for me. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Everything that I use, I will also be linking in the description box below. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you next week on Monday. Bye.